Hey everybody, it's Alex Miller at Capneon here. I'd like to talk a little about the effects AI seems to be having on the labor market so far, with a special emphasis on what do we think might keep going. And I think one of the most fertile areas to talk about as a canary in the coal mine for other educated white collar work is the software engineering world. So I'm going to talk a little bit about vibe coding and weave in some of the story as well about what is AI good for in terms of helping you code, because I think that informs what's happening a whole lot. Before I get started, I think it's worth pointing out that there are a lot of reasons that the market for software and data talent is not great right now. And it's difficult to untangle exactly what cause is having what effect. It's more fun to blame something on AI than, say, interest rates, which everybody agrees passes through to corporate IT spending a lot. And low interest rates are also part of the story of some of the labor market dynamics we see. A really useful point to make about AI and work in general is that replacing people is not the right idea. It's not going to happen like that. It's more enlightening to look at how AI enhances people and how the work the AI does is different from the work that the person does. This still has lots of labor market effects, and it's not just not to say that it's not potentially scary, but the story is really more people are not getting hired than people are being replaced and fired. So let's get into it. If you are around tech, this is not the best couple years past for tech hiring. AI is part of that picture. The story is something more like these AI tools are great for increasing the productivity of an established developer. Companies that in the past might have been scaling up their headcount with junior employees to support established senior developers are not doing that scaling up. They're leaning on the reality that maybe these AI tools allow the productivity of your senior developers to ramp up and up and up for a while. And I don't want to talk about people replaced because they never hired, but a lot of the work you might have farmed out to a junior developer in the past, actually writing down the code, is now getting done by an AI. And this is a good transition point to some street level wisdom about vibe coding. You get better results working with AI if you already know what you're doing and you could have written the code for yourself, so you can ask the right questions, you can do quality control if things don't work. And then it still seems to be very much on the human to understand the big picture. In a whole lot of ways, it gets very difficult to handle the AI correctly. It's going to understand all the details of an application that has maybe a bunch of smaller systems inside of it. So all of this leads you to, well, you can't really replace a senior developer because the senior developer is the person that understands the big picture and is in a good position to quality control the AI. They could have definitely written these things themselves. It is true that you maybe don't want junior developers as much. And this seems to be playing out in reality that the entry level market in particular is especially bad. People don't want to hire young engineers that much. And AI enhancing senior engineers is a big part of that story. So to peer into the crystal ball, if you're established in a data or software career, you're probably fine-ish for a while or maybe forever. And if you're not already established, in particular if you don't already have a job, well, it's going to be hard to get on the merry-go-round for the first time. I think it sounds a little weird to imagine that these dynamics would continue a long time because, well, where do new senior developers come from? We don't talk about it very much on social media for being unglamorous, but there's a lot of older businesses out there that have been leaning on a very old database technology of some form for a very long time, involving languages like COBOL. And there are people, mostly older people, the last few people working that know how to work with that language that get paid very large amounts of money at an hourly rate to deal with these old databases. And I bring this up as a prototype of something you could easily imagine happening more broadly with AI, in that the way these things evolve is that software engineering becomes a career we don't talk about as much. It's something that is not on the radar of college students as much. But if you got on the merry-go-round early enough, a lot of what the job looks like in 10 or 20 years is the established people that understand the big picture are basically supervising a lot of AI that's writing the code. Probably still a really great career, except you're not going anywhere else. Ironically, in a lot of ways, now somebody getting paid a lot of money to be the last person standing to deal with a legacy technology that a lot of the rest of the world has forgotten about. Closing thought, I think, once again, it's not about replacement. It's about how does enhancement of existing workers affect things. And it, of course, affects things more broadly than you might naively think. And then it's really interesting to look at how much things more resemble human AI collaboration. There's always an interesting story about the human and the AI are working together in different lanes versus the AI does everything. Because an AI mind is not exactly the same as a human mind in a lot of ways, and I think that's important.